Chosen one, anchor your spirit to every word I am about to speak. That restless feeling you have been carrying, the one that sits right behind your eyes and refuses to let you sleep. It ends here. God cannot hide this from you anymore. The truth has been pressing against the walls of heaven trying to reach you, and today, right now, in this exact moment, the seal breaks. Not next week, not when you feel more ready. Today, and the enemy knows it. That is exactly why the last 72 hours have felt like warfare you could not explain and could not name. Think about it. Maybe you have been moving through your days this week, feeling like something monumental is right on the edge of your awareness, but you cannot quite reach it. Like trying to remember a dream that keeps dissolving every time you get close to it. Or maybe you've been waking up at 3 in the morning this week with that strange heaviness in your chest. Not sad exactly, not afraid exactly, but suspended, like the air in a room right before someone delivers news that changes everything. Some of you stopped mid-sentence this week, talking to someone, going about your day, and something inside you just paused and whispered, "There is something I am supposed to know. There is something I have been missing." That was not anxiety. That was not exhaustion. That was the Holy Spirit knocking on the walls of your understanding. You have been operating with incomplete information, and the enemy has been using that gap against you. He has been sitting in the space between what you know and what God has been trying to tell you, and he has been filling that space with doubt, with confusion, with the slow grinding weight of feeling like nothing is working and you cannot figure out why. And in that confusion, the accuser has been whispering a very specific lie. Listen carefully, because you need to recognize his voice. He has been telling you that the reason you feel so lost right now is because you made a wrong turn somewhere. He has been replaying moments from the last several weeks in your mind. That conversation you had where you said too much or too little. That opportunity you let pass because you were not sure. That version of yourself you kept putting off becoming. He has been whispering that God tried to show you something and you missed it, that the window closed, that the truth he wanted to give you passed you by because of your hesitation, your doubt, your inadequacy. He has been telling you that you disqualified yourself from the knowing. But here is what the scripture actually says about this moment. Deuteronomy 29:29 says, "The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things revealed belong to us and to our children forever." But listen to that. The things revealed belong to you, not to the qualified, not to the ones who never doubted, not to those who never hesitated or stumbled or sat in their car and could not make themselves turn the key. The revelation belongs to you. It is your inheritance, and God does not take back inheritances because of imperfect seasons. The enemy wants you to believe you forfeited your right to the truth, but you cannot forfeit a birthright. You can only receive it or delay it. And today, the delay is over. You did not find this message by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. God did. This is a divine appointment that was scheduled before your name was spoken into existence, and you are sitting exactly where you are supposed to be sitting at exactly the hour you are supposed to be here. Do not close this. Do not scroll past the moment your spirit has been waiting for. In the next few minutes, I am going to reveal the vital truth God has been holding at the threshold of your understanding. I am going to walk you through the exact reason it was withheld until now, and why now is the only moment it could be released. And at the end, I am going to give you the declaration that opens your spirit fully to receive everything heaven has been trying to deposit in you. Your future self is on the other side of this message. The version of you that walks in full knowledge, full clarity, and full authority. Do not leave before you become that person, because here is the reframe your spirit needs right now. That feeling you have been carrying, that restless, pressing, almost unbearable sense that you are on the edge of something you cannot yet see. That is not confusion. That is not you falling behind. That heaviness is not the weight of everything you have missed. It is the weight of everything that is about to be handed to you. You are not a seeker who lost the trail. You are a chosen one who just reached the moment of revelation. And God cannot hide this vital truth from you anymore. What has been withheld from you was never hidden because you were unworthy. It was hidden because it was being protected. There is a profound cosmic distinction between a door that is locked against you and a door that is locked for you, sealed with divine intention until the appointed moment when you would not only be capable, but truly strong enough to carry the immense weight and sacred responsibility of what lies inside it. And that distinction, that fundamental understanding, is absolutely everything. For too long, the enemy of your soul has taken the profound, sacred silence of heaven in your waiting season and cunningly twisted it into insidious evidence of your rejection. He has masterfully weaponized the quiet, making it feel like utter abandonment, an echo of forgotten prayers. He transformed the necessary delays, the carefully orchestrated pauses in your journey, into cruel indicators of disqualification, whispering that you were somehow not enough, not ready, not truly called. And tragically, you believed him, not because you were inherently weak or lacking in faith, but because no one ever illuminated this vital truth for you, that some of God's most potent and world-shifting revelations, his deepest truths and most powerful anointings, are not merely delivered. They are guarded by a strategic, nurturing silence until the one they truly belong to is not just eager, but truly prepared to receive them without being overwhelmed, without being corrupted and without being utterly destroyed by their sheer magnitude. The divine hand, in its infinite wisdom and boundless love, often holds back the very thing you yearn for most, not to punish, but to perfect, not to deny, but to develop the inner capacity required to steward such a magnificent gift. It is an act of profound grace, a divine embrace that shelters you from a premature unveiling that could shatter rather than uplift. This protection is a testament to God's foresight, his loving commitment to your ultimate flourishing, far beyond your immediate understanding. Some messages don't just inform, they activate. If something stirred deep in your spirit just now, you may be ready to receive the Chosen One's blueprint. This sacred guide reveals the 8 divine patterns behind your calling, your suffering, and your destiny. It also comes with the full audiobook, so you can absorb it during prayer, rest, or quiet moments with God. And for those called to speak his truth, you'll also receive Activating Your Prophet Mantle, a powerful bonus ebook for those carrying a prophetic assignment. The link is in the first pinned comment, but only for a limited time. Now, here is what you need to understand first, a foundational truth that will reorient your entire spiritual compass. The vital truth God has been holding at the very threshold of your understanding, pressing against the deepest parts of your soul, is not a new piece of information that needs to be learned from scratch, like a foreign language. Oh no, this is something far more ancient, far more intrinsic. It is a powerful restoration of something you already know, intimately and profoundly, at the deepest, most primordial level of your being. It is a whisper of your soul's original song, a memory imprinted within you before language was ever formed, before your experiences began to shape and sometimes distort you, before the world, with its myriad voices and limiting narratives, ever got to you and started teaching you who you were not. This is not revelation in the conventional sense of something entirely foreign, arriving from outside, a brand new instruction manual landing in your lap. This is revelation in its original, potent and sacred sense, the removing of a veil from something that was always, eternally there, waiting to be seen. The word revelation itself means uncovering, like peeling back layers of dust from a priceless artifact or clearing away mist from a majestic vista. And what God is painstakingly, lovingly uncovering in you right now is not a new identity you must strive to earn or embody. It is the original one. It is the divine blueprint of your being, the immaculate design that was spoken over you in the councils of heaven. This is the very identity the enemy has spent your entire life relentlessly trying to bury, trying to obscure under layers of misinterpretation, under the weight of wounds that told the wrong story about your worth and your purpose. Under the suffocating burden of versions of yourself you felt forced to perform because the true, radiant and powerful version felt too dangerous, too vulnerable, too magnificent to show to a world that might not understand or might even reject it. It's the breaking of the shell to reveal the diamond, not the creation of a new gem. It is the unveiling of the masterpiece, not the painting of a fresh canvas. But here is where this understanding goes even deeper, touching the raw nerve of spiritual progress. The reason most people never truly step into full, luminous clarity, never walk in the unfiltered light of their authentic identity and calling, is not because the truth was never revealed to them. Oh no, the truth in its myriad forms often whispers and knocks persistently. The deeper, more painful reason is that they simply cannot receive what they do not, at a fundamental level, believe they deserve. Revelation is not merely intellectual apprehension. It requires an inner vessel, a spiritual container that is prepared and worthy to hold such potent truth. And the process of that preparation, let me assure you, is rarely comfortable. It is often a refining fire, a sculpting hand that feels more like pressure than gentle touch. Think about Moses in the wilderness, a profound and poignant example. 40 long years of silence. 40 years of a man who once carried the regal identity of royalty, educated in the finest courts of Egypt, now tending to flocks of sheep in the desolate, scorching desert. 40 years of surely wondering if the chapter of his significance had already irrevocably closed, if his grand purpose had been a youthful delusion swallowed by the sands of time. The wilderness for Moses did not feel like preparation. It felt like exile, like a divine abandonment, like utter irrelevance. It felt as though God had decisively moved on, and Moses had been relegated to the footnotes of someone else's epic story, a forgotten character. And yet, every single day of that agonizing, lonely wilderness sojourn was meticulously building in Moses the one quality, the absolutely indispensable virtue he could never have developed amidst the opulence and power of the palace: humility. A humility deep enough, rooted enough, and powerful enough to truly carry the raw, unfiltered authority of heaven without being corrupted by it, without letting it inflate his ego or blind him to the divine source of his strength. The delay was not a punishment, friends. It was not a divine oversight. The delay was architecture. It was the careful, intentional construction of a soul capable of leading a nation, built layer by painful layer in the unseen depths of desert solitude. It was the stripping away of what was not truly him to reveal the mighty vessel God had always intended him to be. And this profound insight leads us to something most people miss entirely, a crucial piece of the spiritual puzzle: the preparation you have been in. Those arduous seasons that often felt purposeless, the closed doors that felt intensely personal, slamming shut not just on opportunities but on hopes, the deafening silence that resonated like a definitive rejection from the divine. It was never God withholding something precious from you out of stinginess or disdain. Rather, it was God, in his infinite wisdom and relentless love, working deeply in you, performing spiritual surgery and strengthening your inner being. He was cultivating the soil of your soul so that when the truth finally arrived, when the revelation broke forth like a new dawn, you would not just intellectually receive it, but you would be fully, robustly able to hold it. You would have the spiritual infrastructure, the emotional resilience, the character foundations necessary to integrate it, embody it, and steward it with grace and power. Because there is a fragile, even destructive version of every powerful revelation that utterly demolishes the person who receives it too early, before their spiritual roots have gone deep enough, before their character has been forged strong enough. Consider this. Power without foundation inevitably creates collapse. A magnificent, world-changing calling without the necessary depth of character to sustain it inevitably creates casualties, harming not just the recipient, but those they are meant to serve. And a potent, divinely ordained identity without the foundational depth of true humility and self-awareness often creates nothing more than a hollow performance, a grand facade that eventually crumbles under its own weight. And God, who sees the end from the beginning, who orchestrates the dance of cosmic time, loved you far too much to hand you something in the wrong season that would have, in the divine unfolding, ultimately undone you in the very season it was meant to empower you. He saw the full arc of your journey, and he guarded you from yourself, from the potential for self-destruction that comes with premature spiritual magnitude. Coming up, the hidden agreement that has been the real, often unspoken source of your most persistent delays. Stay with me, because this is the part that profoundly breaks cycles and unlocks your future. But first, this foundational truth has to truly land in the deepest chambers of your spirit. That pressing, restless weight you have been carrying within you, that persistent hum or quiet ache that has been sitting in your chest, a constant, undeniable presence. It is not spiritual static, friends. It is not just random noise in the ethereal realm. It is a powerful, undeniable spiritual signal. Your spirit, the part of you that is most intimately connected to the divine, already knows something profound has shifted. Something fundamental in the atmosphere around your life, in the unseen currents of your destiny, has been rearranged, adjusted, or set into motion. And that deepest, most knowing part of you, the part that lives closest to God's heart, recognized it, registered it, and responded to it long before your mind had the rational language or logical frameworks to articulate it. That is precisely why the last few days, weeks, or even months have felt strangely suspended, as if reality itself is holding its breath. That is why ordinary moments have carried an unusual, almost sacred weight, an undercurrent of significance that defies explanation. You have, without fully realizing it, been standing at a spiritual threshold, a pivotal gateway between what was and what is destined to be. And something profound within you has known it, deeply and instinctively, even when nothing in your visible circumstances, nothing in your external reality, had yet confirmed it. It's the subtle tremor before the earthquake, the shift in the wind before the storm, the stirring of life within the seed, long before the sprout breaks through the soil. It is the undeniable evidence of God's unseen hand at work, preparing the way, aligning the constellations of your destiny. And that brings us directly to the real turning point, the crucial pivot where many lose their way. Most people who find themselves standing at a potent, life-altering threshold like this one do exactly one thing, a subtle but devastating misstep that sends them spiraling back into old cycles instead of propelling them forward into the breakthrough they desperately crave. What is it? They wait for permission that God already gave. They stand directly at the wide-open door, the one heaven meticulously prepared and flung open for them, and they hesitate. They wait for someone else, a respected pastor, a trusted prophet, a perfectly worded confirmation text message, an unmistakable sign etched across the clouds, to explicitly tell them it is safe, it is right, it is time to walk through. And while they are paralyzed by this need for external permission, while their gaze is fixed outward, the enemy is working overtime with diabolical efficiency to manufacture and present countless reasons why the door isn't really open, why the timing isn't really right, why they aren't really ready. He does not even need to expend energy to physically close the door. He just needs to keep you standing in front of it long enough, paralyzed by indecision and doubt, for that doubt to metastasize and begin to feel like profound wisdom, like spiritual maturity, like responsible discernment. He convinces you that caution is prudence, when in fact it is capitulation to fear. He turns the waiting into a trap, obscuring the divine mandate that has already been spoken over your life. He thrives in the hesitation, knowing that an open door left unentered eventually loses its power and allure. What most people do not realize, a truth often obscured by the noise of modern life, is that discernment and fear can sound almost identically persuasive when your spirit is not deeply anchored in God's truth, when your inner compass is not recalibrated by His presence. Both voices, in their initial pronouncements, will often tell you to pause, to wait. But the critical difference, the one that defines your destiny, lies in what that pause is pointed toward, what direction it asks your soul to lean. Fear, that cunning adversary, points relentlessly inward, toward your perceived inadequacy, toward the ghosts of your past failures, toward every single reason you have ever conceived that tells you that you are not enough, not worthy, not capable. It focuses on limitation, on what's missing, on perceived dangers. Discernment, on the other hand, the voice of the Holy Spirit, points always upward, toward God's perfect timing, toward His sovereign movement in the unseen realms, toward the precise season that is being meticulously aligned on your behalf, often far beyond your earthly comprehension. And the most effective way you tell the difference, the infallible test, is not by endlessly analyzing the exact cadence or emotional tone of the voice itself. It is by profoundly examining what that voice, whether it be fear or discernment, is ultimately asking you to do with your identity. Is it asking you to shrink, to retreat, to make yourself smaller, to hide your light, to diminish your potential, to abandon the vastness of who God created you to be? Or is it asking you to be still, to be patient, to endure the silence, precisely while you are being enlarged, while your capacity is being expanded, while your inner vessel is being strengthened to hold the magnificent, audacious, world-changing purpose that God has already destined for you? One shrinks, the other expands. One contracts, the other prepares for boundless growth. This is the profound key. And once that click, that moment of profound realization, happens within your spirit, everything, truly everything, shifts into crystal clarity. Because then you grasp, with unshakable certainty, that the waiting you have been in was never passive. It was never a cosmic oversight, nor was it you being forgotten or passed over or left in the margins of divine history. No, beloved, it was God actively, powerfully, and intimately doing something beneath the surface of your visible life, in the unseen depths of your spirit. It was the master architect working in the darkness and silence, laying foundations that only eternity will reveal. In the very same way that a tiny, unassuming seed does its most critical, most essential, and most transformative work in the complete darkness of the soil, splitting open, courageously sending down deep, tenacious roots, building the intricate, resilient infrastructure that will eventually sustain the magnificent tree that grows above ground, bearing fruit for generations. God has been doing His most essential, most foundational, and most powerful work in you during those very seasons you could not see, those times of hidden labor and silent growth. The breakthrough you are now on the very precipice of stepping into is not separate from the suffering you have been through, not an isolated reward distinct from your trials. Oh no, it is intricately, divinely built on it. The roots went down deep into the difficult soil of your experiences, precisely so that the fruit, the glorious abundant fruit of your calling and destiny, could come up, strong and vibrant and enduring. Your deepest pain has been the very soil in which your greatest purpose has been taking root, unseen, until now. Coming up, what I am about to share next is the part that almost no one truly wants to hear, for it demands a level of honesty that can be uncomfortable, but it is the exact, precise key to walking fully, powerfully, and unreservedly into everything God has meticulously prepared and perpetually waited to unleash through you. Stay with me. Now let us talk about the agreement you did not even know you made, a silent covenant forged in the crucible of prolonged expectation, because somewhere in the profound, often bewildering, middle of the waiting, somewhere between the multitude of unanswered prayers that seemed to vanish into the ether, the pervasive confusion that clouded your purpose, and the sheer spiritual and emotional exhaustion that weighed down your soul, most chosen ones, without conscious awareness, quietly sign a very specific, insidious contract with limitation. They do not do it consciously, no. They don't sit down, pen in hand, and deliberately decide to give up on their calling or diminish their divine destiny. It happens in a much more subtle, almost imperceptible way, like the slow erosion of a riverbank. It happens when the pain of hoping, the vulnerability of perpetually reaching for a promise that seems perpetually out of reach, becomes too costly, too emotionally taxing. And in a misguided attempt at self-preservation, the mind, in its protective instincts, begins to subtly lower the ceiling of what is truly possible. Belief that most sacred and potent force slowly, imperceptibly, gets renegotiated down to something more manageable, something that feels safer, less likely to lead to further disappointment. This happens not because God, in his infinite truth, ever said the promise was smaller or less grand or less miraculous. It happens solely because the extended wait, the prolonged silence, the perceived absence of breakthrough made it feel psychologically safer, more realistic, to expect less. And that internal agreement, that quiet, unconscious reduction of what you believe is truly possible for your life, for your calling, for your future, does infinitely more damage than the enemy's most direct, most ferocious attacks ever could, because it doesn't feel like defeat. It feels like wisdom. It feels like maturity. It feels like finally being realistic, finally letting go of childish dreams. But it is a profound, soul-crippling lie, meticulously dressed in the deceptive language of growth and spiritual pragmatism, designed to keep you tethered to a smaller version of your destiny. Consider the prophet Elijah in one of his most human, most vulnerable moments. After calling down fire from heaven, after a magnificent display of divine power, he fled to the wilderness, sat under a solitary juniper tree, and told God, with raw, unfiltered honesty, that he had had enough. One of the most powerful, most spiritually forceful individuals of his generation, a man who had stood against hundreds of false prophets and witnessed divine intervention on a scale rarely seen, was so utterly depleted, so profoundly broken by the crushing gap between what God had clearly shown him was possible and what his current, desperate circumstances were reflecting back at him, that he asked to die. And what did God do? The God of roaring fire and cosmic might did not rebuke him. He did not launch into a sermon, reminding him of his calling or chastising his lack of faith. He did not tell him to toughen up. Instead, in an act of profound, tender mercy, he sent an angel who gently touched him and said simply, "Arise and eat." because what Elijah needed in that moment was not a theological discourse or a stern lecture. It was pure, unadulterated nourishment for the journey ahead, sustenance for his body and soul. God met him in his most contracted, most depleted, most utterly broken moment of agreement with limitation, not with condemnation, but with tangible, life-giving provision. He understood that the spirit, like the body, sometimes needs to be restored before it can resume its appointed task, before it can break the silent agreement with expectation. And this, friends, is where the true confrontation begins, not with external forces, but with an internal reckoning. Because the agreement you need to profoundly, unequivocally break today is not with the enemy. The enemy, by his very nature, does not need your agreement or your permission to attempt to harass, hinder, or destroy you. He will always seek to do so, regardless of your consent. No. The agreement you need to shatter, to absolutely obliterate, is the one you made, unconsciously or consciously, with a version of yourself that was meticulously formed in the crucible of your pain, shaped by your deepest wounds and disappointments. That version of you, forged in the fires of past trauma and disillusionment, made profound decisions about who you are, what your capabilities truly are, and what is ultimately possible for you. And those decisions were based entirely on limited, often distorted information gathered in your lowest, most vulnerable, and most contracted seasons. And for too long, perhaps your entire adult life, you have been living as though those crisis-born decisions were final, unchangeable decrees. You have been honoring a contract that was written in moments of crisis, in seasons of despair, and you have, perhaps unknowingly, been calling it character, calling it resilience. You have been maintaining a fierce, even perverse loyalty to a diminished self-image, a shrunken vision of your true self, and you have been, with all sincerity, calling it humility. But let me be utterly clear. True humility is not the reduction of who you are. True humility is not the shrinking of your God-given stature or the denial of your divine potential. On the contrary, true humility is the accurate, unflinching assessment of exactly who God, in his boundless wisdom and power, made you to be, in all your glory, your strength, your unique gifting, and your vast potential. And then, it is having the audacious courage to actually be that person, to embody that true identity, to walk in that full anointing, even when it feels too large for your current comfort zone, even when it inevitably invites opposition and misunderstanding from a world that prefers you small, even when the gap between who you are becoming and who you have been is so profoundly uncomfortable that it makes every fiber of your being scream for you to retreat back to the familiar, albeit some confines of your past self. True humility is acknowledging the source of your power, not denying the power itself. But let me challenge you with something that goes even deeper than that, piercing through all prior layers of understanding. Because here is what almost no one is willing to say, the inconvenient, confronting truth. And it is the very thing that has been hidden in plain sight, obstructing your path this entire time. The ultimate, deepest thing that has been blocking your breakthrough, the final barrier that sits beneath all the others, is not, in its essence, the enemy's overt power. It is not the lingering shadows of your past mistakes or perceived failures. It is not even the powerful, yet subtle agreement with limitation, as profoundly real and damaging as that agreement truly is. No, the deepest, most entrenched barrier, the one that requires the most courage to dismantle, is that some hidden protective part of you is profoundly afraid of what your life will require, what demands will be placed upon you, once you fully, irrevocably receive this truth and step into its light. Because breakthrough, friends, is not just glorious freedom. Breakthrough is also immense responsibility. When the veil finally lifts and you see with pristine divine clarity, when the fog of confusion utterly dissolves and you know, with unshakable certainty, exactly who you are, exactly why you are here, and precisely what you have been called to do, you can no longer make the same tired excuses. You can no longer comfortably blame the persistent fog for your inaction. You can no longer point to the unanswered questions, the lack of confirmation, or the absence of a visible sign as the reason you have not moved, have not dared to step forward. Full revelation, in its truest sense, is full accountability, and some part of you, deep within your subconscious, has been diligently, almost heroically, protecting itself from the perceived weight, the sheer demand of that accountability. It has done so by orchestrating a subtle dance of staying just unclear enough, just confused enough, just uncertain enough, to remain just comfortable enough, just hidden enough, just stuck enough, to never ever have to fully show up in the magnificent, terrifying, and utterly glorious fullness of your divine design. It is the fear of the crown, not the fear of the battle. And this truly is the unexpected revelation, the pivot point that reframes everything you thought you knew about your journey. The clarity you have been relentlessly asking God to give you, the unambiguous direction, the irrefutable confirmation, the unmistakable sign you have been patiently, desperately waiting for. In many, many cases, it has already been given. Not always loudly, not always dramatically, not with thunder and lightning and burning bushes, but in the small, persistent knowing that keeps surfacing in your spirit. No matter how many times you try to suppress it, no matter how much you try to rationalize it away, in the unique gift, the innate talent, the spiritual anointing that keeps presenting itself, keeps pushing its way into your awareness, even though you, in your humility or your fear, keep dismissing it as too simple, too ordinary, too unlikely to be truly divine. In the assignment, the compelling mandate, the sacred task that keeps appearing at the very edge of your awareness, the quiet inner conviction that you have been casually calling a passing thought, a fleeting impulse, when God, in His sovereign voice, has been calling it a profound, non-negotiable mandate for your life. You have not been waiting for clarity, beloved one. Clarity, in its divine and perfect form, has been patiently waiting for you to stop running from it, to stop minimizing it, to stop dismissing the quiet whispers of heaven that have echoed in your soul. And today, in this precise, potent moment, the running stops, the excuses dissolve, the waiting for permission from external sources ceases. You are called to step into what has always been yours. You have been chosen. Not in the flimsy, romantic, effortless sense of the word that implies an easy path, devoid of struggle. Chosen in the ancient, biblical, weighty sense, selected for a specific, often heavy purpose. Chosen to carry a specific light and impact the world in a way only you can. You have been meticulously trained through fire, refined through seasons you would never have chosen for yourself, seasons that felt like stripping, like breaking, like death. You have been brought, by divine orchestration, to this exact pivotal moment, with every single experience you have been through, every wound, every victory, every delay, every struggle, serving as the precise, indispensable preparation for everything you are about to courageously enter. And let me warn you, the enemy's final, most cunning attempt to stop you from stepping into this breakthrough is not going to come in the form of a loud, overt attack, a dramatic external obstacle. Oh no, he is far more insidious than that in these crucial moments. It is going to come as a quiet, almost gentle suggestion, a subtle whisper designed to disarm and disempower, that this message, this profound moment, this undeniable stirring in your spirit, this deep resonance you are feeling, is just emotion. just another fleeting wave of inspiration that will inevitably fade by tomorrow morning, leaving you back where you started. Do not, under any circumstances, let him have that foothold. Do not give an inch to that lie. What you are feeling right now is not merely emotion. It is profound, divine activation. It is the Spirit of God stirring within you, a summons to rise. And you carry it forward, not by intellectualizing it, but by making a decisive, non-negotiable choice. Right now, in this sacred moment, not tomorrow, not next week, but now, to release every diminished, smaller, wounded version of yourself that you have been unconsciously guarding as though it were precious, as though it were your true identity, and instead to step with full courage and unwavering faith into the magnificent, weighty, and utterly glorious fullness of who God has always known you to be since the dawn of time. Place your hand on your heart, grounding yourself in this truth, and declare this with me, letting these words become a living, breathing covenant with your spirit. I release every agreement I made with limitation in my darkest seasons. I break every contract I signed with a version of myself that was formed in pain and mistakenly called it identity. I release the fear of the immense weight, the profound responsibility, and the unparalleled glory of my own divine calling. I release the debilitating habit of perpetually waiting for permission that heaven already irrevocably granted. I declare unequivocally that I am not behind. I am not disqualified. I am not, and never have been, the sum of my worst seasons or my longest, most agonizing delays. I am exactly, precisely, and gloriously who God said I was before the world ever got the chance to tell me otherwise, before the voices of doubt and disillusionment clouded my sight. I receive the truth that has been persistently pressing at the threshold of my understanding, knocking at the door of my heart. I receive the crystal clarity that has been patiently waiting for my surrender, for my courageous willingness to truly see. I step forward, not when I feel ready, for readiness is often a deceptive illusion, not when the external circumstances perfectly confirm it, for faith often precedes sight, but now in this very moment, in unwavering faith, in the fullness of my being, and in the full, unshakable authority of who I was profoundly created to be. The pressing weight I have been carrying was never confusion. It was, from the very beginning, divine preparation. And I walk into my breakthrough, into my promised land, knowing with every fiber of my being that I was chosen, I was guarded, I was meticulously built for this precise moment, and I am now, finally, ready to carry everything heaven has been patiently waiting to place into my open, surrendered hands. If this message reached something real in your spirit, do not let it stop here. Share it with someone who has been standing at a threshold and does not yet have the language for what they are feeling. And drop the word chosen in the comments below, not as a formality, but as a declaration. Let it be the first word of the new chapter, because you did not come this far to stay where you are.